In Africa, my Africa.
The bustling Tanzanian metropolis of Dar es Salaam, its unmistakable coastline and sprawling suburbs. Nestled on a natural harbor in the eastern coast of Africa, this city is home to millions of people. I'm here to do more than take in the city's scenic beauty. Away from the stunning tropical turquoise waters, I talk to people, not just your average people, but football stars that hone their craft with the Kampala Kids League. More than a decade ago, the Kampala Kids League took world football by storm. It beat some decent teams to coveted pieces of silverware. What happened to the players that authored those resounding successes? This is an extraordinary story that I've wanted to tell for a while now. It's a story of boys who found the transition from childhood to adulthood all too hard to navigate. It's a story of the treacherous journey from boys to men and everything in between. Outlet litmus test for any footballer the world over is representing their country. Here in Uganda, if you pass that litmus test, you are assured of game time in that cathedral. It must hang heavy on the Kampala Kids League that not many of its graduates have decisively passed this litmus test. Kampala Kids League's graduates might have a rough time of it, but not this man. He is Timothy Batabaire, an uncompromising central defender who played for the Cranes just when the Kampala Kids League, or KKL, was writing some of its greatest chapters. That was a few years after the turn of the second millennium. Batabaire is the first to admit that he wasn't the most talented of players. He saw himself and was seen by others as a work of accidental efficacy. His footballing career gained traction after a game between Mitchell Hall and a star-studded Nkrumah Hall outfit at Makerere University.
Nkrumah was the powerhouse, sports powerhouse, and we were going to play Nkrumah, and nobody gave us a chance. So Nkrumah had Postnet Omonyi in goals, we had Makoba, Farouk, Ijun Sepia. These guys were reported to be under-20 internationals coming back from Angola. So this was an international game. Interestingly, by then I was a striker. So I was playing, and my teammates in Mitchell Hall, Sewava, and I said, guys, we're going to concede so many goals. What are we going to do? Then I said, guys, okay, I'm going to play behind. I'm going to be a defender for this game.
Batabaire was tenacious in defense. He was someone you'd rather have on your side than against you. His tough-as-nails approach, which saw him take no prisoners, would later win him a number of caps with the Cranes. Despite using an unsightly safety-first approach, or in fact because of it, Batabaire made a name for himself in Cranes colors. Why are most of the KKL graduates, who are evidently more talented, not doing likewise? Batabaire thinks he has an answer to that question.
In that mental strength, the tenacity that was there.
Mental strength and tenacity eluded Benjamin Ochan in this aborted 2015 Uganda Cup final. The day's referee, Robert Donay, had awarded AC Villa a controversial penalty, much to the anger of KCCA faithful. Ochan was one of the pioneering players of the KKL team. He captained and scored the winning penalty when KKL won its first major piece of silverware in mainland Europe in 2001. Ochan hailed the landmark win with, you've guessed right, tears. They appear to be an ever-present for him in good and bad times.
We were able to raise a team of youngsters who were 10, 11, 12-year-olds and went to the Gosia Cup. and this was a great excitement because this was the first time a young team from Uganda was traveling to the Gothia tournament, and we were ably well presented because we managed to go right through to the finals of the Gothia Cup, and Ochan saved the last penalty and scored the winning goal in the penalty shootout in the finals. So that was the beginning of the KKL journey, and I spent 6 years with these young boys training together every Saturday and Sunday at Old Kampala.
My first experience of them was that they were very humble, very, very quiet children, very well-behaved children, and a joy to be around. They were focused in what they were doing, and they were lovely. I mean, one of the things that they were proudest about is winning the Fair Play Trophy every year. And so not only did they win the tournament, but they gained so many friends along the way, supporters of KKL and supporters of them personally. And to see them grow, I didn't see them for a few years though, so to see them grow from this height all the way up to, well, let's be honest, a lot taller than me now, as professional athletes, it's been a real privilege. And they're incredible people, incredible human beings, and incredible footballers as well.
Mark Dudley's father, Trevor, started KKL with the hope of using sport to bridge the gap between learning and skills development. Trevor Dudley exuded an intense energy during the several years he was at the helm of KKL. When his remaining reserve of strength began to fail him, he entrusted his pet project to the care of his son.
You've got so many stories of other KKL children who, just for the sake of one knee injury, their entire lives changed. I mean, there was some of the children who were set for glorious things and had all their boxes ticked. They were talented, they had great attitudes to training and to individuals as well, and to their teammates, and they got a knee injury and their career was over. So luckily we're still in touch with them and helping some out wherever we can.
Ochan is one of the KKL graduates that have made a feast of it. He keeps goal for KCCAFC, but his failure to make the grade in the top flight leagues of Denmark and South Africa remain a stain.
Premiership is very competitive, and they demand that you work. Your past result yesterday doesn't count for the next game. So you are judged according to how you have performed today. So you have to be willing to work your socks off, week in, week out.
Eddie Butindo, whom we heard from earlier, was the tactical brain behind KKL. He answered the call to coach the young impressionable players. His steely stare, at once both intimidating and mesmerizing, did the trick with the young players. Even back then, he wore the rectangular spectacles that are now his trademark, giving him the appearance of a scholar as indeed he is. Butindo is nowadays more comfortable around books than people on the pitch because he's pursuing his PhD at Chambogo University. He nevertheless looks back at his work with great affection.
These are two young people I think I stumbled upon in my quest for young players in Uganda way back in 2000, and they were playing football around the Entebbe grounds. Both Benjamin and Dennis Guma were young players, about 10 years old by then. And later on, I joined them with Serunkuma. Daniel Serunkuma was from Amudat in Kawempe. So I was collecting young players for our organization called Friends of Football, and started training with them at Old Kampala Secondary School.
KKL's failure to put something a little more palatable on the Crane's plate still vexes Butindo.
I always get worried. Why is it that at the age of 16 they were playing very interesting football and they were able to display, some elements of hope, but right now you see them collapsing. Baba Chizito now, he was also showing the same, but then you see them, Vietnam, there is also that element is spoiling most of our players because they are given enticement to go for short trips which may not be beneficial to their profession.
The subject of whether football officials here in Uganda do more harm than good has been discussed just as much as Cleopatra's nose was. While some observers hold that players are being led into dark alleys, others contend that the stated players are old enough to see things in black and white.
Former Cranes manager Chris Mubiru cut a sad figure in the dock as the magistrate read out the ruling that convicted him of sodomy. Mubiru was found guilty of having carnal knowledge of a 16-year-old boy against the order of nature in 2009. He was convicted under the Penal Code Act, which prohibits sexual acts by members of the same sex. The law was introduced by British colonialists in the 19th century.
The sodomy king, former football star, notorious for sodomizing boys, notorious for sodomizing soccer players, notorious for sodomizing so-called celebrities, musicians and so on and so forth, has been convicted because of his indulgence in homosexuality.
Ibrahim Saddam Juma was the player par excellence in KKL across the 6 years Butindo was in charge. In 2006, he was part of the team that played Barcelona's cadet team. Together with his colleagues, Juma toured FC Barcelona's imposing Camp Nou stadium. Here he is in a white t-shirt sharing a photo moment with Ronaldinho. Inside one of Camp Nou's hallowed rooms, he shares a handshake with then FC Barcelona president Joan Laporta. Not long after, Juma got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to join a European club. Fate, though, would deal its card in favor of someone else.
In Fulham, I won't lie about that. I was impressive, but by then maybe that is the difference between African football and European football. There was a gap that I needed to gap in. I think that was on my. The talent was okay, but I think it was all about the hard working, or I liked something to be in Fulham. That's why I was recommended from Fulham to Nottingham Forest in the championship. Then I went there for trials. Good thing I passed the trials, but there were some terms between my club by then, the Bunamwaya and Nottingham Forest, that didn't work out. It wasn't about me, but it was only left for both parties.
How did you feel when things hit a snag?
Yeah, I was a kid. I was a bit disappointed, but I thought maybe I would have another chance. But it really turned I think by then my season, because I came back and I only played for some few games. Then I went to Vietnam. I think it did something about my season.
Juma has been accused for lacking in all mannerisms. His proximity to the disgraced Chris Mubiru won him few friends. Butindo took special aim at the player, warning that his obvious talent could be put to waste.
I myself, I got Saddam Juma from Luzira, but when he got into the paid ranks in Villa and then later on to Bunamwaya, I mean, he lost direction because they started giving him a lot of money which he had never seen, and that from there it was wrong, because the people around them, others wanted to do other things. Because I understand he ended up being messed up, either in this other way by men to men. So I feel very sorry for Saddam, especially because he was a very good talent. Very good talent. Because if you see, for example, Dorian who used to himself to say, no, coach, I'm not as good as Ochian, I'm not as good as Saddam, let the others play. But I would force him. And I saw it in it himself. He had the attitude. He wanted to be a professional player. Do our young players have that in their mind? That's a big question.
My lifestyle still changed by then, because, you know, when you're stressed, you're depressed, you don't know who to run to. So it really changed from the person I was by then and by that situation. But I think about my lifestyle, I have heard a lot about it. They talk about it, but I'm trying to leave that behind me, because I'm not going to be on that. And I'm giving myself a second chance to hit back and run for what I love most, because football has been my life.
While Juma has failed to break into Europe, Dorian Clonaridis has projected the vigor of a mountain climber. He currently turns out for Greek side Panathinaikos. Previously, he played for Lille in the French Ligue 1. In this photo, he is seen in KKL colors with the Gothia cap. That he wouldn't lace the boots of a Saddam Juma here or Dan Serunkuma there makes his current feats all the more remarkable. The 2012 Kenya Premier League Awards are being held, and a certain Ugandan has landed a big cut. The story is headline news in Kenya.
KKL's Ugandan import Dan Serenkuma scooped the Tusker Premier League 2012 Player of the Year award as Gor Mahia won most of the trophies at the gala last night.
After cracking the code in Kenya, Serenkuma moves to Tanzania, hoping to replicate his red-hot form with Simba SC. Tanzania has some passionate fans. This is how they welcomed Emma Okwi when he joined Yanga FC. "2015 finds Serenkuma and Okwi in the same Tanzanian club, Simba SC. Serenkuma has not exactly lit up the Tanzanian top-flight league as was widely expected. The Ugandan has come in for lots of flack for not finding his scoring boots. He's nevertheless trying to put on a poker face.
Yeah, I was there because I won many trophies there. Everything was good, and I hopefully I will do the best here in Tanzania, what I did in Kenya. Yeah, you know, it's always difficult when you come to the new society. You have to adopt, you have to know everything. It's always not easy, but you keep on working and then make everything faster than you can. I know that I still have a lot of time to the national team, and hopefully one day I'll do the best for the national team, the way I do for the best for my club. Yeah, there are many good players made it to the national team. You can see the likes of Sekaja, they made it to the national team, Bua. So hopefully one day I'll achieve more to the national team.
Things did not quite work out for Serenkuma at Simba. He suffers the ignominy of being released. After being deemed surplus to requirements, Serenkuma returns to his happy hunting ground of Kenya. His new employers are Bandari FC. He has also welcomed his first child, a bouncing baby girl. Clearly, the journey from boys to men has not been an easy one for many of the KKL graduates. No one said it would be easy. While Dennis Guma has been a hit with the Cranes, the sheer number of misses has not allowed for any chest thumping. Many reasons will be proffered as to why the rites of passage that lead to adulthood have been flunked. Perhaps the biggest of them all is a broken system that doesn't engender character building, and for that reason, boys will, well, sadly remain boys.